Hickok 45, what we have, the Remington RM380, fairly new offering from Remington. And although I like to shoot everything at longer ranges, like to play, see what I can do with a little pistol at long ranges, we all know what a little pocket 380 like this is for. It's for up close and dirty, in case you're about to be mugged and killed by a 2-liter. Okay, double action trigger. You notice I kind of missed the reset on it there one time. Okay, let's go ahead and shoot some more. That's what they're for. Shooting up close and dirty. Even a pink 2-liter or a coffin. Yeah, and of course even that is further away. And normally you're going to be defending yourself against a 2-liter big steel coffin or a filing cabinet or anything like that. So yeah, we're going to take a look at this, let you know what I think of this thing. And it's a hammer fire, as you can see. So you got a long trigger stroke. And what I did there when I was shooting, I was trying to shoot fast and I kind of did that. I didn't get my finger back far enough. Okay, that's what happened. That's of course one reason everybody likes a short reset, and that's why we brag about a firearm that has a short reset quite often, don't we? I thought before I get it too dirty, I would show you the breakdown on the thing. And I've got my tools here. It's got a little pin you take out that probably reminds you of what is the LCP, I think it's like that. So you got to line it up, and then of course it's clear. Line it up. What I found out for me is if I go ahead and stick my little tool on the other side, now it'll sometimes just fall out, but I go ahead and get a tool there and then grab it like this, and then when you see that pin lined up, just push it out, let it fall out. Okay. And a little tip, if you have one or are going to buy one of these, I have discovered really that is the best way to grab it. See the way I have that thing grabbed? And I'm not touching the barrel. You'll see how important that is when we put it back together and turn that box over, getting a little sprinkling here. Yeah, okay. So, and then you've got your spring here, kind of hard to get under that, so pull it out. They, Remington bought roar ball, as I understand. If you're familiar with the roar ball pistols, you may not be, I never did have one, but this is kind of a remake of it, as I understand. They bought that company and they made some improvements, they would tell you, on the roar ball. It had a European style mag release, it didn't have a slide lock and some things like that, and it was pretty expensive. And so they have made some, if you have a roar ball, you might see some other differences that I'm not really fully aware of. But that's what they did, and they did it to their satisfaction. I think the roar ball was around $1,100 or something, and this one is about 417 or something MSRP. Now getting it back together is the real tricky part. I think I have discovered you gotta get that in the right place. Right there is a little notch. Get it started, and then grab it the same way. Because I went crazy trying to get this thing back together once or twice. You can't, oh, I forgot to use my method. So you cannot be putting pressure on the barrel. That's the secret I discovered after much frustration. Much frustration. There, it went right in. You know, if you're pushing it forward from, like this, and you're putting pressure on the barrel from the top or like this, forget it. You will never get it back together. Okay, so now they tell you be careful if you're racking the slide, holding it like that, the pin could actually drop out. If you're racking it slowly, I think you'd have to be extreme slow motion for that to happen, but just something to be aware of. Okay, so that's, you can't believe how happy I am to have discovered how to break this thing down, which that's not a big problem, but getting it back together. I went through a lot of frustration, I really did, until I figured out the system there. Just, there's that pin, it would just fall out on me almost. Okay, so that's not a problem. Now you may not like the way it goes back together, it breaks down, but if you have one of these or buy one and you start getting extremely frustrated, just think back to this video and it'll help you, believe me. That's the only way I can get it done. All right, so what do I think about it? I've been shooting a thing for days and days here, off and on, and I didn't like the trigger when I first got it. I'm still not crazy about it. I like a striker fired, and you see what happened to me there once. But for a handgun with a long trigger pull, hammer fired, you know, there's a certain safety advantage to that, right? You know, and people with normal size hands and fingers and everything, it probably would not be as big a problem, right? But that's what you got. If you don't like a hammer fired small pistol like this, you won't like it. But you know, it's designed to be a little kind of a last ditch effort, you know, firearm 380 that you can have in your pocket. And that's kind of what it is. Now, even though it's got that hammer fire, I would not carry it without holster. And there's probably people that would. They'd stick this in a jacket pocket or something, even with a round in the chamber. And that always makes me nervous when I hear people talking about doing that. I would not recommend that. I would always have a good holster for it, particularly if you have a round in the chamber. Now, if you didn't have a round in the chamber, and you know there's not a round in the chamber, and you got that long trigger, yeah, maybe. No, that's up to you. Be safe, though. When in doubt, just be safe. Go the extra mile to be safe. That's why you have a firearm, to keep yourself alive. You know, you don't want to end up hurting yourself with your own firearm. Okay, could happen. All right, so that is that. Like I say, those of you who have a roar bar, have ever had one, this firearm probably looks a lot familiar, very familiar to you. It's fairly ergonomic except for that trigger. It really is. It does need some grip tape for me. It would feel a lot better. I didn't put any on it, but it would feel a lot better. Now, I've shot it a fair amount. I'll have to say it has not had, I've not had a malfunction. I will also say, though, this is the second one that we requested from Buds. The first one, we were messing with it, and I showed it to John, and first thing, he was just racking a slide, and the slide locked up. And it locked up, it came kind of up and couldn't get it back down, couldn't get it to move, period. It was just locked in about that position there, I think, wasn't it, John? About like that, and it was like up off the rail or something a little bit. And I mean, I tried everything. I messed with it, and I messed with it. And I finally got it back somehow, like the next day after a while of messing with it. I'm not even sure what I did to do that, though. And then in field stripping it, cleaning it, shot it, put it back together, tried to put it back together. And as I was trying to get back together, struggling, it did the same thing. Now, when John had that experience, he wasn't taking it apart or anything. He was just working the slide. But I was actually trying to get the pin back in and messing with it, and it did it again, and I never got it out of that position. I didn't. In fact, I did not get it out of that position, I don't think. And I just sent it back, to Buds. And I said, explained what happened to it. I said, look, send another one. That's fine. We'll try again. Some of it might have been me with getting the pin in there correctly. Like I said, I've had trouble doing that until I figured out the best method for it. But then again, like I said, John wasn't messing with the pin or breaking it down or anything. So just sort of throw that in, okay? If anybody's had that experience, chime in here. And especially on this pistol, we know the experience that Remington had with the R51. Was that it? I may have that number wrong, but the big fiasco with that one. Now that said, maybe this will be a redemption gun here, and they'll be redeemed, hopefully. Okay, but anyway, just let you know what I know about it. All right. But it has not malfunctioned. It has just fired right on. It seems to be a design that lends itself to functioning smoothly. Now, I say that, who knows what will happen today, but it's done okay. And it's a little hard for me to shoot well, at longer ranges. I could take my Glock 42, play around a little bit, and I could pop some things over there on the far hill with it. I don't know, with this, that's really hard to do. But again, you saw it, the distances where you would be using a handgun like this, and it feels awkward to me. I've got a big hand, and from whatever that was, 4 or 5 yards is where a confrontation would probably take place. Bang, it does fine. All right, so let's take a couple more shots with it. See if I can hit a 2-liter. Boom! Yeah, let's get this guy. Yeah. In honor of Kentucky, get the blue one. Now, I don't think I can hit one of those from this range, but I'll try. Yeah, went right over it with all that. I've kind of gotten a knack for how to hold it to get some reasonable accuracy out there at range. I can at least come close. Like I said, close, and that's the best I could do on that. Okay. So, and you see it's got a real thin, like a Glock, you know, some good things about it. It's a very flat gun, which is great for a small pistol. You know, it's got a 3-inch barrel, 2.9 inch, something like that. You know, it weighs, see, I weighed it, and it was 14 ounces, 13 and 3/4 ounces, like that, with the empty mag in it. Okay, and like I said, it seems to cycle smoothly. I've never had a round even come close to wanting to hang up. And for whatever else you don't like about a pistol, that of course is the most important, right? The function. Okay, but it's got a lot of competition, you know, on the market, and no doubt about it. There's some good guns out there. Let's see if it'll shoot in the rain. I'm gonna have to walk up a little closer. Use Smart L 2-liter. There we go. I guess I'll put my ears on. I was the first to know. I didn't have them on. Hey, Mr. Cowboy. Oh, right in the heart. To say it does what it's supposed to do. You'd have to get used to that trigger. Let's say I pulled it out of a holster or something here. I've got a bad guy, and that's pretty far away, really, for a encounter. We'll load it up a couple more times. These have the 2 mags, of course. I don't think they make a 33 rounder for this. I don't have any hollow points, but I've seen some people report that it did just fine with hollow points. So, and the way it feeds these, I would guess it shouldn't have any problem. Some people just carry a hardball anyway in a 380. See, when I carry a 380, I've got some hollow points. I forget who makes those. They're very rounded though. They're almost like this hardball with a little hollow point. I sort of compromise it a little bit, carry something that's very, very similar. I don't want something too open for a 380. Mainly the penetration is what you're looking for there. That little 95 grain or 100 grain, you know, round. Although there's some good rounds for these guns too. You got to make sure your gun functions well with them. All right. Well, I guess we ought to try the gong. It shoots a little high to point of aim. So I can tell where I'm missing over there. I think I can tell where I'm missing. Yeah, it's very flat. I like that. Got ambidextrous mag release. Got pretty good serrations. I'm trying to, you know, giving you the good and the bad. Serrations are great. Sights are not all that great. Of course, again, considering what this pistol is for. It's an aluminum frame. It's not very heavy, of course. What else about that? It's got a little bit of a beaver tail. I haven't had any trouble with slide bite. Even with my large hands, I tend not to have a big problem with slide bites on little Glocks or anything. Hopefully you wouldn't either. It's close. It looks like I would, but I really don't. But I like that slide lock lever melted in like that. That's great. Let's go close here. That's what it's for. I'm gonna load one more time. See, what else have I neglected to mention about it? Have an upgraded roar bar, double action only, hammer fired, and you know, is what it is. I would make sure I would make sure you can pull the trigger before I bought one if I were you. And I know gun shops don't like where you're pulling all their triggers and snapping all their firearms, but I won't buy a gun unless I pull the trigger on it. I don't go around snapping all the guns on the shelf when I go in the gun. But if it's a firearm I have decided I like this, I think I'm going to buy it. And it gets to the point where the only deal killer is if the trigger is bad, then I'm not. But if I like the trigger at all, if I like the trigger, I'm going to purchase this firearm. At that point, I don't, you know, I've got my checkbook out. You know, I'm ready to, or cash or whatever. I don't think most gun shop owners mind that. They can tell you you're ready to buy this gun. And I don't think Homeland Security carries this yet because it's not been out long, but they wanted to get a look at it, so they're probably seeing. I'll lay it on the table so they can see it. I waved to them. So perfectly legal firearm, right? Okay, let's put a couple more on this 2-liter. If I get the right grip on it, it does all right. It does all right for me. It really does. I just don't know where they're going across the hill. And with a 380, it don't exactly make a massive divot, you know, for you to see your misses. I'll try one or two more at the gong, though, just to wake him up. Got him. I was holding too high. Oh, got him again. Last round hit the gong, so that looks like sounds like a good place to stop, doesn't it? So the Remington, the RM380, it's probably one worth looking at if you're looking at a small pistol. It really is. You might grab it and don't want that trigger at all. You know, give me one of those others to look at. That could be your reaction to it. I'm not a big fan of the double action only trigger. Yeah, I can see why some people like them though. You know, it's you know, sometimes the striker fire triggers, which I really like, are pretty light. You think about an LC9S, you know, that new one. Whew, thing's got a target trigger, and you know, some of them have a really nice trigger. You can hit anything you want to hit with them. But then again, that could be a disadvantage in a carry gun if it's that light and that easy to, you know, to drop the hammer, drop the striker. So, you know, there's positives and negatives for everything. I think Emerson said that. Didn't he write an essay called Compensation? I know most of you have read it. But anyway, it's not a bad little pistol. I think my like for it, what like I have, my level of like for it, I won't say love, but my level of like for it, I think is based primarily on, it seems totally reliable in terms of functioning rounds. And with a semi-automatic, that's always a huge deal. Okay, I was struggling with a 1911 here just recently on the range, and you know, one out of every 7 or 8 rounds or more is messing up. You know, I'm not used to that anymore. You know, the polymer guns, the newer guns, the SIGs, the M&Ps, the Rugers, and all these guns, they just feed well. You know, and we've all gotten used to that. And so the bar is pretty high on any pistol. It's got to work. It's got to work. And there's some that don't. There's some that aren't 100% reliable, even in the new lines of pistols, modern pistols. But this one, for a small pistol, you know, it seems utterly reliable. So that is a big, big plus if you can get past some of the other things that maybe you don't like as much about it. You know, that long trigger pull and everything, okay? And of course the sights are minimal. So anyway, I mean, right now I'd say it's an okay pistol. You know, I'm not going to rush out and replace my Glock 42 with it, or my PM9. And recently did a CM9, which I like. Okay, you'll be seeing that. Some others I wouldn't replace those with it, but it seems to work well. And you know, we're getting a little bit of rain, and that's an incredible test for it. It's been an incredible test, hasn't it? Because it's been sprinkling a little bit, and it's continued to function. Pretty amazing. Life is good. We'd like to thank one of our sponsors, SDI, the Sonoran Desert Institute. SDI has fully accredited distance learning programs where you can get certified in gunsmithing or even an associate's degree in firearms technology. Of course, the study includes hands-on experience, which is important, of course. So check it out. Go to sdi.edu or just click on the link in the description. Okay? And also, we'd like to remind you to check out the Hickok 45 Facebook page and the Hickok 45 and Son channel and its Facebook page, as well as Gun Culture Radio on iTunes. Now remember all this, because I'm coming to your house randomly over the next year or two to give you a quiz on it, okay? Thank you.